Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Prime Minister calls for increasing tax net to 10 crore people, outlines 5-point charter for tax administrators. Congress's problems in Punjab multiply as the opposition swoops in after Kamal Nath's resignation, but party maintains that it did not buckle under pressure to replace him. China acknowledges India inching closer to NSG membership, but warns that inclusion will shake the strategic balance in South Asia. India and Namibia look towards better coordination in supply of uranium. President Pranab Mukherjee holds talks with his Namibian counterpart. And war of words in the US presidential elections. Hillary Clinton says Trump is unfit for the president's office as the billionaire renews his call for banning Muslims from entering the United States. A top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for 10 crore people to be brought into the tax net, up from the current 5.3 crores. Inaugurating the two-day annual conference of tax administrators in the national capital on Thursday, the Prime Minister also outlined a 5-point charter for tax administrators and termed it rapid. He asked tax officials to remove fear of harassment from the minds of taxpayers and move towards digitization.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has advised income tax administrators to take steps to bridge the trust deficit with taxpayers and strive to widen the taxpayer base. During an hour-long interaction with tax officials, the Prime Minister asserted that Indians are not dishonest and that the tax department should make it further easier for them to comply with the law.
The Honourable Prime Minister suggested that we should raise our sights higher, that we should make it very easy for people to file their taxes, and that we should legitimately aspire to 10 crore taxpayers within our tax base. And this is in the context of having 25 crores or so households in the country out of the 125 crore people that we had.
Prime Minister Modi also advised tax administrators to adopt soft and sober behavior to remove the fear of harassment from the minds of taxpayers. He also laid down 5 pillars for the tax administration to imbibe to deliver efficient administration.
We need to focus R on revenue, A on accountability, P on probity, I on information, and D on digitization.
In the first 10 months of 2015-16, the collection was 5.2 lakh crores in direct taxes. The government, however, had set a direct tax collection target of 7.97 lakh crores in 2015-16, up 26.5% from 6.3 lakh crores in 2014-15. Just 4% of India's voters are taxpayers and only 15.5% of the net national income is being reported to the tax authorities. And the Prime Minister's pitch to raise the tax net articulates the need of the hour.
GDP ratio stands at 16.6%, which is below many emerging economies. The government has set up a high-level committee under former Delhi High Court Judge R.V. Eswar to suggest simplification of tax laws. Simple tax laws would not only help in cutting down unwanted litigations, but would also improve tax collections. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Anirban, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, with Assembly elections in Punjab slated for 2017, the Congress seems to have already failed to get a head start. Senior leader Kamal Nath's appointment and then resignation as the party's General Secretary in charge of the state signals more towards problems within. Though the party maintains that the resignation came out of Kamal Nath's own volition, the opposition has swooped in on the opportunity.
मैं ये राजनीति समझता हूँ क्योंकि ये ध्यान मोड़ने की राजनीति में सफल ना हो पाए मैंने ये तय किया कि इससे दूर रहना और अलग रहना ही अच्छा है.
Congress leader Kamal Nath's clarification on why he backed out of being the party general secretary in charge of Punjab. Soon after his appointment, a controversy had erupted over his alleged role in the 1984 anti-Sikh riots.
32 साल से मैं इसमें डैमेज नहीं हुआ. मैं जनरल सेक्रेटरी रहा दिल्ली का. यहाँ सब सिखों ने कांग्रेस को वोट दी. मैं जनरल सेक्रेटरी था. हम जीते एमसीडी इलेक्शन. एलके अडवाणी बोले, सुखबीर बादल बोले, धिनसा जी बोले, बीजेपी के और नेता बोले किसी ने कोई आरोप मुझ पर नहीं लगाया, और अब और किसी ने उसके पहले आरोप नहीं लगाया, उसके बाद आरोप नहीं लगाया, 4 दिन से ये आरोप शुरू हो गए।
I think his letter, which he has written to the Congress president, is very, very clear that why it is being done and how deeply anguished and hurt he is, and he wants to be relieved of that responsibility.
However, the opposition swooped right in and says the resignation proves that the Congress had accepted the leader's involvement in the 1984 anti-Sikh riots.
आम आदमी पार्टी ने इसका जबरदस्त विरोध किया है और इसके विरोध के चलते उनको वापस देना पड़ा है, इस्तीफा देना पड़ा है। तो अब न केवल उनका इस्तीफा हुआ है, बल्कि कमलनाथ के मामले की जांच होनी चाहिए और पूरा सच सामने आना चाहिए और उनको इसकी सजा मिलनी चाहिए।
हम ये डिमांड करते हैं कि रेजिग्नेशन देने से इसका मर्डर केस से जो लायबिलिटी है, जो इसका वो ऑब्जॉल्व नहीं हो जाती, तो कत्ल का मुकदमा चलाया जाए, जल्द से जल्द गुरुद्वारा रकाबगंज में अटैक और 2 सिखों को जिंदा जलाने का केस रीओपन किया जाए और कमलनाथ के अगेंस्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशन करके जल्द से जल्द चार्जशीट फेल की जाए।
जिस जख्म को कि कांग्रेस पार्टी ने दिया था, उसी कांग्रेस पार्टी ने पंजाब के लोगों के जख्मों पर फिर से एक बार नमक छिड़कने का काम किया है, इसलिए पंजाब की जनता उसे माफ नहीं करेगी।
On Wednesday, Kamalnath had requested Congress President Sonia Gandhi to relieve him from his duties so that the attention of the party was not diverted from the real issues. The Congress plans to highlight issues of misgovernance, misery of farmers and youth, breakdown of law and order, and rampant drug trade in Punjab. With inputs from Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A day after a delegation of BJP leaders visited Kairana to take stock of the situation there, a delegation of 5 opposition parties were in town on Thursday. Both sides are on a fact-finding mission after reports of a mass exodus of Hindu families from there.
A delegation of 5 opposition parties, including the Janata Dal United, CPIM and the NCP, visited Kairana on Thursday. They held discussions with the local to investigate the reasons behind the alleged migration of Hindus from the town.
There are people here who have genuine issues. As Tyagiji has pointed out, they are talking about school, they are talking about health care, they are talking about industry, they are talking about jobs, and they are not finding solution.
लोग जा रहे हैं, एक्सटॉर्शनिस्ट के लिए जा रहे हैं, दिस इज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन, उसका फिर हिंदू मुसलमान नहीं होता है। तो जो सत्ता में देश में है, वो क्यों इस सवाल को हिंदू मुस्लिम इशू में करना चाहते हैं?
JDU leader KC Tyagi also said that reports by BJP MP Hukum Singh and the administration are contradictory and the matter should be investigated by an all-party delegation.
We leave it to the Prime Minister. We don't believe Hukum Singh. We don't believe district magistrate. That there be a free and fair inquiry headed by any jurist, a member of the parliament consisting all the political parties.
A 9-member BJP team had visited Kairana on Wednesday to review the situation. However, Kairana's BJP MP Hukum Singh did a U-turn of sorts, saying the migrations had more to do with the law and order situation. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh has stressed on the need to safeguard not only industrial, commercial and strategic installations, but also the entire coastline from external threats. Singh was speaking at a meeting convened to review the country's coastal security. The meeting was attended by Home Ministers, Chief Secretaries and Director Generals of Police of coastal states and union territories. Singh reviewed all aspects of security along with the country's over 7,000-kilometre coastline. While the Indian Coast Guard has been designated as the authority responsible for coastal security in territorial waters post the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, the Indian Navy is responsible for overall maritime security, including coastal and offshore security. MHA has also issued guidelines to coastal states and union territories in regard to security of non-major ports.
सरकार ही नहीं करना चाहती है। मैं समझता हूं कि जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं सभी चाहते हैं कि कोस्टल सिक्योरिटी फुल प्रूफ होनी चाहिए। इसलिए कोस्टल सिक्योरिटी में जो विजिबल गैप्स हैं उनको भरने के लिए आप सभी के सुझाव आमंत्रित हैं। कोस्टल सिक्योरिटी के काम में लगी सभी एजेंसीज के बीच बेहतर तालमेल के लिए सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लगातार प्रयत्न कर रही है।
India's current account deficit narrowed sharply in the fourth quarter of financial year 2015-16. The RBI said the contradiction in the CAD was due to lower trade deficit in this quarter. The current account deficit for the January-March quarter narrowed to $0.3 billion or 0.1% of GDP. In the previous quarter, the current account deficit stood at $7.1 billion or 1.3% of GDP. For the full fiscal 2015-16, the CAD stood at $22.1 billion or 1.1% of GDP as against $26.9 billion or 1.8% of GDP in 2014-15. This on the back of a contraction in the trade deficit. The country's trade deficit narrowed to $130.1 billion last fiscal from $144.9 billion in 2014-15. Let's now take a look at what else is making news around the country nationwide. The army on Thursday foiled an infiltration bid in the Tangdar sector near the LOC in Kashmir. 4 militants and a soldier were killed in the counter-infiltration operation. This is the second infiltration bid foiled by security forces along the LOC in Kashmir in the last 3 days. On Tuesday too, an infiltration bid was foiled in which 1 militant was killed while one soldier laid down his life. The Supreme Court refused to entertain the plea of an NGO seeking stay on the release of the film Urta Punjab and asked it to approach the Punjab and Haryana High Court, which is seized of the matter. The plea was filed on grounds that the movie depicts a wrong image of Punjab. The Aam Aadmi Party has removed its spokesperson Alka Lamba from that post for 2 months, reportedly for straying from the party line on a minister accused of corruption. Lamba had told reporters that Gopal Rai was asked to step down from his post by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Rai quit as Transport Minister on Wednesday. Lamba added that she is ready to repent if she has committed any mistake. The Kerala police detained the prime suspect in the rape and murder of a law student in Perumbavoor near Kochi in Kerala on the 28th of April. Amirul Islam, a migrant worker from Assam, was arrested and police have sent his blood samples for examination. He is currently being questioned in an undisclosed location and the police is also probing several locals and migrant workers in the area. The JDU has decided not to renew the membership of former party MLA Usha Sinha. She is the wife of Bihar School Examination Board Chairman Lalkeshwar Prasad Singh, who is allegedly involved in the Bihar topper scandal. She has been made a co-accused in the case. Currently absconding with her husband, she was an MLA from Hilsa in Nalanda district. A government inquiry is underway against her. Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Hello and a warm welcome to It's My Life, the program that brings you face to face with country's top politicians.
You know, I've been flying for a very long time. It's a passion of mine.
अगर मैं बोलूं मिठाई, कराची हलवा, कॉमेडियन, जाने वाकर, ये मेरी जो भाभियां हैं ये प्रसन्न रहेंगी तो मुझे ठीक से खिलाएंगी, तो इसलिए मैं तो अपनी सारी भाभियों की चमचागिरी करती हूँ।
मैं तो चला जिधर चले रास्ता।
You can't be a successful MP without your wife, huh?
I can't be successful anything without my wife.
शॉर्टकट में सबको खुश करने के लिए चल धन्नो आज तेरी इज्जत का सवाल है।
See, whenever you play golf, you forget about anything. You forget even your own wife also.
Most handsome MP in Parliament.
Manoj Tiwari.
Watch It's My Life at Peace Times, only on Rajya Sabha television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India and Namibia on Thursday decided to iron out issues that impede the supply of uranium from the resource-rich African country. India will send a joint technical team of atomic energy experts to Namibia. President Pranab Mukherjee held talks with his Namibian counterpart to iron out these issues. During the talks, Mukherjee conveyed to the Namibian president that India, despite being a non-NPT signatory, has entered in nuclear fuel supply arrangements with 12 countries. India had signed a treaty with Namibia in 2009 for the peaceful nuclear energy use, but it is yet to be implemented. Despite being one of the largest producers of uranium and having a treaty with India for peaceful use, Namibia does not supply the fuel to India because of the Palindaba Treaty among African Union countries, which bars exports of the element to non-NPT signatories. Namibia is the fourth largest producer of uranium in the world.
India remains committed to supporting Namibia in its development. We would be happy to reiterate India's offer of line of credit of $100 million to be used in projects and supplies of products from India. Excellency, India's continued commitment to capacity building through the ITEC program and other bilateral programs in Namibia has been a solid pillar of cooperation.
Now, acknowledging that India is inching closer to entering the NSG, China has, however, warned that India's inclusion in the grouping will shake the strategic balance in South Asia. Chinese media also said that India's entry into the 48-member elite grouping would cast a cloud over peace and stability in the entire Asia-Pacific region. An article in the Global Times also said China could support India's inclusion in the nuclear club only if it played by the rules. The Daily said, and I quote, "If it joins the group, New Delhi will be able to import civilian nuclear technology and fuels from the international market more conveniently while saving its domestic nuclear materials for military use. The major goal for India's NSG ambition is to obtain an edge over Islamabad in nuclear capabilities. Once New Delhi gets the membership first, the nuclear balance between India and Pakistan will be broken," unquote. A commentary in the same daily on the 14th of June had said that India's admission into the NSG would jeopardize China's national interests and touch a raw nerve in Pakistan. It also said that the reason for India garnering support for its NSG membership is because Washington has started to treat New Delhi as part of the US alliance. Now, the war of word continues between the two presumptive US presidential nominees, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Trump once again repeated his call for banning Muslims from entering the United States, receiving backlash from Clinton, who said that he was dangerous and unfit for the president's office.
Presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump on Wednesday repeated his call for a temporary ban on Muslim immigrants coming to the United States, even as his party members distanced themselves from his comments and criticized his remarks. Trump called for surveillance of mosques as part of US law enforcement efforts to prevent terrorism.
We aren't vigilant and we aren't smart. And we have to go and we have to maybe check respectfully the mosques, and we have to check other places, because this is a problem that if we don't solve it, it's going to eat our country alive.
Trump also said the Orlando shooting would have been different if the patrons were armed.
Some of those great people that were in that club that night had guns strapped to their waist or strapped to their ankle. And if the bullets were going in the other direction, aimed at this guy who was just open target practice, you would have had a situation, folks, which would have been always horrible, but nothing like the carnage that we all as a people suffered this weekend.
But Trump's remarks were met with shock from the Democratic camp. Presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton slammed Trump as dangerous and called him temperamentally unfit and totally unqualified to assume the role of commander-in-chief.
Apparent that Donald Trump
does not seem to grasp any of this. He has been fixated on the phrase, and I quote, radical Islam, as if those are magic words that once uttered will stop terrorists from coming after us. His comments have become even more inflammatory in recent days. This approach isn't just wrong, it is dangerous.
This is not the first time Donald Trump has faced flack for his remarks. He was previously criticized for saying he would implement a database to keep track of Muslims in the United States. His hardline proposals on immigration might have contributed to his popularity among some conservative voters, but it has also triggered condemnation from minority and human rights activists. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, China has once again warned the United States to stop interfering in its domestic matters by using the Tibet issue. This after US President Barack Obama met the Dalai Lama in a private meeting at the White House. China also reiterated that it is determined to safeguard the country's national sovereignty and ethnic unity and needs no interference in its internal matters. The US President's meeting with the Dalai Lama comes at a time of heightened tensions between the US and China over Beijing's assertive push of territorial claims in East Asia.
停止利用涉藏问题干涉中国内政，停止做任何有可能影响中美合作大局的事情，以实际行动维护中美关系。至于讲到中国西藏的情况，中国人民最有发言权。
Now, a day after failing to acknowledge India as a global strategic and defense partner, the US Senate has passed a draft bill which includes a provision to set up a new fund to reimburse Pakistan for its war on terror. According to reports, $800 million has been authorized under the provision called the Pakistan Security Enhancement Authorization. The Senate, however, has blocked an additional aid of $300 million unless Pakistan takes action against the Haqqani network. While the Senate has acknowledged Pakistan as a long-standing strategic partner, it did not pass the amendment that would have allowed India and the US to become defense partners. Some more international news now in Global Buzz. US senators have signaled considering a ban on the sale of guns. The move comes after the Orlando nightclub massacre in which 49 persons were killed and more than 50 injured. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have both supported gun control efforts. Under the US Constitution, Americans have the right to bear arms. Egypt says that it has spotted and obtained images from the wreckage of the Egypt airplane that crashed into the Mediterranean Sea last month, killing all 66 people on board. The Egypt Air Airbus A320 en route from Cairo to Paris had been cruising normally in clear skies on an overnight flight on the 19th of May when it crashed. As the standoff between Afghanistan and Pakistan continues over the Torkham border issue, the Afghan government has asked the US to put pressure on Islamabad to step back and let diplomatic efforts resolve the dispute. Firing between the two countries first broke out on Sunday after the Afghan forces prevented Pakistanis from constructing a gate at Torkham. Afghanistan has repeatedly blocked attempts by Pakistan to build a fence on sections of the roughly 2,200-kilometer-long frontier. And some sports now, and first the politics of it. Top officials of the Goa Cricket Association have been arrested for misappropriation of over 3 crore rupees. Goa Cricket Association President Chetan Desai, Secretary Vinod Farke and Treasurer Akbar Mullah were arrested by the Economic Offences Wing of the Goa Police in connection with the alleged fraud of 3.13 crore rupees. The complaint was filed by a GCA member accusing the three of forging signatures and opening bank accounts to siphon off the association's money between 2006 to 2008. The police has registered a case under cheating, forgery and criminal conspiracy.
We have arrested 3 people in the case registered against GCA. The complaint had come from one complainant by the name of Mr. Vilas Desai, who also happens to be a member of GCA. The amount involved is about 3.13 crores and it's a case of misappropriation and also a case of forgery and impersonation. So we've arrested Mr. Chetan Desai, Mr. Vinod Fatke and Mr. Akbar Mullah in this yesterday, and the investigations on all angles are being done.
Some more sports action now on Sports Beat. Indian men's archery team failed to qualify for the Rio Olympics as it failed to make the cut in the final Olympic qualifying tournament. The Indian trio of Atanu Das, Jayanta Talukdar and Mangal Singh Champia lost to lower-ranked Malaysians 4-5 in the shoot-off in the quarters to be out of reckoning for Rio. France secured the ticket to the last 16 of Euro 2016 with a 2-0 win over Albania. Antoine Griezmann struck late before Dimitri Payet added another second in injury time. In another match, Switzerland were frustrated in their attempt to book a place in the knockout stage after a 1-1 draw against Romania. Corinthians manager Tite has accepted an offer to coach Brazil. The 55-year-old, who led Corinthians to 2 Serie A titles, the Copa Libertadores and the World Club Cup, would replace Dunga. Brazil fired Dunga as coach on Tuesday after Brazil failed to get past the group stages of the Copa America. Roger Federer eased into the second round of the Hall with a 6-4, 7-6 win over German wildcard Jan-Lennard Struff. The Swiss top seed, still without a title during an injury-hampered 2016 season, fired 15 aces en route to setting up a last 16 encounter with Tunisia's Malik Jaziri. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.